To the Carnamart. Good morning, everyone, and you're welcome to County Mayo, and particularly welcome to Westport. And in relation to the National Tidy Towns Conference, so we've a fabulous day of events ahead of us. Some all wonderful speakers, and it's going to be a very, very good day. As I have the job in relation to introducing our MC, which is one Mr. Dermot Bannon, and Dermot is, as you know, is a leading voice in modern Irish architectural design. He's also, in relation to, apart from having his own successful firm, he's also has his own programme, an RTE, Room to Improve, which he's introduced since, I think it's 2007. And he's also a very successful author. And there's no doubt about it, he's certainly someone that we're delighted that he's here today to MC the event and to take time from his busy schedule. So, without any further ado, Mr. Dermot Bannon. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for that great introduction. Welcome, everybody. I'm normally used to talking and lecturing people, and today really is, for me, is just about listening, which is very much out of my comfort zone. But today's conference is National Tidy Towns. It's not an annual conference. The last one was 10 years ago. So this is a big event, and I was talking to Simon about it this morning. It's a bit like you're all here kind of hating each other really secretly deep down, aren't you? And I was told to keep a weapon beside me at all times. There's nothing, Tidy Towns is cutthroat. And it's a bit like, you know, when during the war, they used to always, just on Christmas Day, they'd lay down their guns and they'd play a football match. So this is what it's like for all you guys here today. Just look at the person beside you, smile at them, and just be nice to them. It's only one day. It's only one day. I was absolutely delighted to be invited up here to MC today's event. Simon and myself go back a long time. Simon Wall, for anybody who doesn't know Simon Wall is Westport's town architect. And we were in college together. He's a lot older than me, so he was finishing up when I was... I don't know how we managed that 15-year difference. But when he said to me, would you be interested, I in a heartbeat I said yes. And I get asked to do an awful lot of stuff, and most of the stuff I say no to. No matter how stretched I was, and I know I have to apologise over and over again for being late last night, but no matter how stretched I was, I wanted to do this because it's a huge part of who I am. I grew up in Malahide, so there's an awful lot of hissing and whatever, because when I was growing up, Tidy Towns was my life. My dad was chairperson of Malahide Community Council. He was chairperson of the Tidy Towns Committee. We spent every waking hour that we weren't in school cleaning the village. I was up and down ladders with watering other people's window boxes because they didn't water themselves, and cleaning, tidying, weeding, all of the above. And then, so as a child I did all that, and for me that was Tidy Towns, but then I learned the other side of it, the strategy, the planning, the outwitting the judges. And I remember, like, my dad on some sat, like, they used to sit around for hours and they would say, you know, if it's the third Sunday in June, what's on that? And he would look and he'd try to see if there was football matches on, and he'd try to second guess who was in the pub. And I'd swear to God, if he could close down the pubs on the nights that he knew that they would be, because obviously the most litter was the next morning and the thing, so they'd be up at 5 o'clock in the morning out there. But I'd say if he could, because he was a pioneer, he didn't see what the big deal with drink was. Obviously they're not. Somebody had a late night and they're involved in organised. But it was the strategy behind it, and it goes to so many different layers. It starts off, it is about cleaning a town, but it's also about building communities, and it was about building teams. And I know in Malahide, and I'm only just going to give you my personal story. I've been given 27 minutes? No. So I'm master sermons, I have to keep everything moving, I'm not allowed to talk. Mm-hmm. So I theoretically should have been finished now. But I'll give you I saw in Malahide, the Tidy Towns started, the streets got cleaned. Then people started to look at the shop fronts. And then they started to tidy up the shop fronts. And then they started to look at the streets. And they said, okay, there's a gap in the street there. They employed an architect, Patrick Shaffrey, who did a development control plan for them. And they said, if you're going to build something, you build it here. And if you're going to do another project, you do it here. We're going to put a marina down there. It was all notions on paper. But 25 years, 30 years later, it was all built because the town, which started off small, picking up paper and tidying up the place, it started to build a community and it started to build pride and it started to build pride. That then led, nice streets, you've got a nice streetscape, coffee shops. It led to people wanting to invest. It led to towns or to businesses and commercial entities wanting to settle in Malahide. That gave higher rents, which gave money back into the community again. So it is a knock-on effect. And it was driven by people. It was driven by townspeople, and that's why tidy towns is so important. Because we can blame government, we can sit back and say nothing ever happens and nothing ever. It never will, unless you believe it yourself. And we have so many towns in this country that are on their knees because of industry and because of whatever. The only way you'll do it is yourselves. And this is where it starts. It starts in this room with people who are up and down the country, believe in their town, believe in where they live, are passionate about where they live, and they want the best things for it. And they are driving everybody behind them. So this movement, organisation, whatever you want to call it, is crucial, I think, to Ireland on so many levels. And I don't think, well, look, most of you probably do, but I don't think people realise how deep it goes and how much influence it can have over a longer period of time and what it can actually do. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. So today is kind of tips and hints and people talking about their involvement in tidy towns. It's a fantastic programme laid out today. I'm not going to get into it because we'll introduce everybody as they're coming up bit by bit. But one thing I did learn last night, bedding plants are out. They're gone. They're not fashionable anymore. Dig them all up. It's all box hedging. Box hedge. And if you live in the Midlands, don't do anything with a boat on its side and plants in it. That, again, you'll be marked down on that. But so I only learned the bedding plant way because Dad was a horticulturist, so he got all of the plants free from Teagasc. I don't know how he managed to get them all. And we had everything, anything that could be spelled out in Mullakeja, Malahide, village, it was all done in bedding plants. And I know that when you pass some of the big presentations, his name, Jim Bannon, was written in there subliminally. It was like one of these things you can only see it if you can see green. It was mixed in. But it was part of my wonderful childhood, and I'm still incredibly proud to be a Malahide man because I was so embedded in that community, and that came from my dad's pride, and it came from my pride in tidy towns. So to start off, our first speaker this morning is Noel Kavanagh. So I could read this out, but I won't because I've met. Noel is a wonderful guy. He's very charismatic, but he's also he owns the local super value here. Noel is also responsible the community for building the building that you're in now, along with Simon and the community. Noel has been a force in Westport for a long time, and a lot of things that happen in the town wouldn't happen without Noel. It's there's architects, there's business people, and what has happened in Westport is this lovely coming together of all the different factors that has made it into the booming town that it is. I know because I've been here on a Tuesday night in the middle of winter and the place is heaving. That doesn't happen in many rural Irish towns, and that's because of the spirit of the town and the spirit of the commercial people here. So, and one thing, and I'm only saying this because Noel owns a local supermarket across the road. This is key, and it was key in Malahide. Keep commercial, keep the supermarket, because when everything else falls away, and just in your own town, fight to keep supermarkets in the town because they're the anchor, the thing that keeps everything together. So I'm not going to say much more. I'm going to let Noel talk a bit about what he does.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. One thing that Noel certainly isn't is a natural speaker like this gentleman here who is now a celebrity. So, regrettably, or otherwise, I will be reading my speech because, as I say, I'm not somebody who's out and doing this every day. But good morning, and a very warm welcome, a Westport welcome to you all. And it's great to see so many delegates and Tidy Towns volunteers from so many communities across the country. We're delighted that you've taken the time out from your busy schedules to make the journey to Westport this morning. And I have no doubt, as was already alluded to, it will be a very, very productive day. Again, I'm Noel Kavanagh. My primary reason for being here is I'm a community volunteer, embedded in my local community. I'm also here as a super value retailer. We're national sponsors, and together with Musgrave, we've been national sponsors of this competition for 25 years. And I'm delighted to report that again this year, after very stiff competition from a lot of other large entities, we have secured the sponsorship once again. And that's a very positive for SuperValue. And 2018 will mark the 60th year of this fantastic competition. And incredibly, there were last year 859 entries across the country. So it's phenomenal in terms of the power and strength of the whole process. It would be remiss of me this morning not to mention the Minister for State for Regional Economic Development, Mr. Michael Ring, and his team in the Tidy Towns unit, who were instrumental in again awarding this sponsorship to SuperValue for another 5-year period. Minister Ring, a proud Westport man, has witnessed firsthand the value that an active and progressive Tidy Towns committee brings to a community. Over a 25-year period, he's been, as a TD and as a minister, and Mr. Ring has contributed in a very positive way to the success and development of Westport Town and surrounding area. The National Tidy Towns competition is a truly wonderful incentive to develop and maximise the potential of our towns and villages around Ireland. We in SuperValue, like all of you here, have a vision for making our local towns and villages communities that we can be proud of. SuperValue has 219 stores nationally embedded in communities. Our retailers, similar to yourselves, are committed, are similar to Tidy Towns committees, form part of the fabric of towns and villages across Ireland, making the partnership a perfect fit. Our heritage is as an Irish business is of huge importance to us. And along with our retail partners, it is at the cornerstone of everything we do and love. Giving back to local communities on a daily basis is something that we are proud of and will continue to do long into the future. It is through the growth and success of local communities in every corner of the country that we can ensure the growth and success of our country as a whole. SuperValue and Tidy Towns are a powerful force of change in Ireland. To our judges this morning, you're very welcome. We're delighted and excited to have not one but 3 judges here this morning, Sharon, Lorraine and Billy, who are hopefully going to share their wisdom and experience with us. They will give us advice, tips and most importantly that extra bit of magic that will help to catch the eye of the adjudicator, as Sharon's talk is titled. This is particularly valuable at this time of the year as you're all preparing to make your submissions to the Tidy Towns unit. A very special welcome to our national competition winners for 2016. And thanks that they're sharing, as Skerries are sharing their experiences and talents with us this morning. Their success is a culmination of thousands and thousands of hours over many years, and a selfless giving and from a committed team of volunteers. It doesn't happen without a lot of effort. Let's give Skerries a big round of applause. To our Westport chair, Etna Larkin, and her team, who have worked very hard to pull this whole conference together this morning in conjunction with Mayo County Council. They will be sharing their experiences of working in the Tidy Towns communities throughout Mayo with you later on this morning. Westport, as was already said, has the accolade of having 3 national wins within a decade, and is a gold medal holder since 2001. And this is unmatched in the modern era of the Tidy Towns competition. So that's something that the town and the people of Westport are very proud of. Having been an avid supporter of Tidy Towns for over a quarter of a century, I have seen firsthand the power and cooperation of volunteerism, and how, as a force for good, it has transformed and invigorated the community. On a personal level, I would like to thank Liam Campion, the store manager of our Westport store here. Liam has been a member of the Westport Tidy Towns, an active member since 1990, and is incoming chair for 2018. So thank you, Liam, for your involvement. I have a whole lot to say about our master of ceremonies here and his involvement with Tidy Towns in Malahide, but he's already covered all of that off. But it's lovely to meet you this morning, and thank you for coming and sharing with us today your talents, and we're looking forward to your input over the course of the day. Now, Dermot, you may well be, and you are, there's no questioning that, a very successful architect in the context of stardom, and but here in Westport, we have our very own and much after-sought star architect in residence, Simon Wall. Simon, whose flair, energy and creative vision have helped to create greatly in the shaping and presentation of our beautiful heritage town, making it fit for purpose for the 21st century. Much sought after in this country as a speaker, and now indeed more recently overseas as a guest speaker on all matters related to tidy towns and planning and rejuvenation, Simon is a strong advocate of tidy towns, recognising the importance and positive impact that a proactive and focused tidy towns committee can have on the lived-in environment within the community. To all of you here today, from communities all over Ireland, towns, villages, it's your presence is a testament to the work and volunteerism you give selflessly to your neighbourhoods, towns and villages week in, week out. The work can be hard and sometimes thankless, but you know the difference that it makes, and that is why you're here with other like-minded people. I know that you will enjoy a day, make new friends and contacts, and I hope that you share and learn here today. You will take home with you to enrich your own communities. Please enjoy your time in Westport, enjoy the conference today, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you.